Can you define what PTSD is and how it affected you?
Yeah. So post-traumatic stress to me is a conditioning of the nervous system, right? So when I was in Iraq, you're in a dangerous, situation for an extended period of time, and I think over time, your body and your mind start to adapt to that dangerous situation. And unfortunately, when you come home, it's really hard to turn that off. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done around that, around post-traumatic stress in managing the symptoms.
Okay. What helped you get through your PTSD?
So I went to a bunch of different therapies, right? So I did like traditional talk therapy. There's a therapy called EMDR, and I did holistic therapies as well. So I did a lot of nature-based therapies, like going out and hiking. Um, there's meditation, yoga, and those are some of the things that have really helped me.
Okay, so yesterday you talked about how nature was or had a big impact on you. So could you explain that more?
Yeah, I think nature has played a really big role in my own healing, and spending time in nature, being outside, I think has a lot more benefit than people realize when it comes to mental health. So I like to spend as much time as I can outside. When I can get out, I do, definitely. One of the coolest war stories. So we did a humanitarian mission to a village. So we delivered school supplies and school books to them, and they had never seen Americans before, or had any interaction with anyone outside of their village before, essentially. So we got to go in, and the teachers tried to stop all the kids from running out of class, but they're climbing over walls, they're running out, and they're all, cheering and cheering. We were giving them out books and stuff like that. So it was a really nice experience outside of the context of the fighting. Yeah,
Yes.
for sure. Basically we lived in built-out shipping containers with bunk beds in them. So that was our rooms, and outside of we would have laptops and stuff to occasionally watch movies and stuff. But other than that, there wasn't too many things that were really close to home. So we had to forego a lot of the comforts and things that we usually had back home weren't really available to us on deployment.
So did you talk to your family while you were out, FaceTime and stuff?
Yeah, we had actual desktop computers with detached webcams back then in 2004, but it was when we had the opportunity to, which was we could go days or a week or so without being able to communicate with our families, but you could stay up a little later sometimes, or if you're getting back from a mission, you could go try to jump on a computer and try to see if your family was awake, or try to communicate with someone. Yeah.
One thing that you said about moral injury is that it could wound the soul.
Mm-hmm.
So could you explain that more?
Yeah. So I think bringing humanity back to traumatic events is something that moral injury does, and something that I think is really important. So understanding that we're all human, and that we have complex emotional feelings and all these things that go along with our experiences. I think that's something that moral injury really highlights, and I think is really important that things like post-traumatic stress really don't bring to the table.
How did you stay in touch with reality while you were away at war?
Yeah, that's a good question. Your reality is really shaped by everything that you're experiencing. So we got to occasionally jump on the internet and really check out what was happening back home and stuff like that, and really try to stay connected that way. But you don't really have the luxury of doing that all the time. So really, it was pretty much war intensive most of the time. Yeah. So when you came home, a lot of stuff had happened while you were away that you kind of lose track of.
Yeah. How did losing your friends affect you?
Yeah, I mean, it's the death of your friends is something that's really challenging, and that has stuck with me, to this day, and it's something that I still work on today, and it has been really challenging. But I hope that by doing this, by talking about them and honoring their memory, is something that I can do to kind of keep that legacy going and keep that alive.
Okay. I heard a lot of cool stories yesterday about like the different things you experienced
Yeah.
while you were hiking. So what is like a really cool thing that stuck with you from your trip?
One of the cool stories that we got to do is we had to help out on a farm. So we had this was in Colorado. So we had someone who reached out to us and said that we could stay with them on their property, but he lived on this giant ranch, and we had to help mend fences and stuff. But on top of that, we had to help get an injured bull into the back of a trailer. Yeah, so it was crazy, but like we had no idea what we were doing, right? So we're like walking around with giant pieces of fence trying to like get the bull into the back of this trailer. So it was a pretty chaotic experience. So there's a lot of like little side missions and stuff like that we would do that were pretty fun.
So could you explain more about why you decided to go on this 2,700-mile trek?
Yeah. So part of it was the major part of it was trying to heal, from my time in combat. So to do that, I knew that I needed to remove myself from the environment that I was in to really take the time to process the things that I experienced. So that was the main driving force behind walking across the country.
You mentioned also about like some of the teachers that you had.
Yeah.
So what was like a really important teacher or someone that really helped you?
Yeah, I think Wolf Walker, I talked about Wolf Walker and kind of showed a picture of him last night, was really helpful in understanding, how healing works, and how personal responsibility in our own healing needs to happen. So that was really important to connect with him and learn about that.
And how did meditation help you, and how do you hope to help other people with meditation?
I think from a really practical standpoint, meditation relieves stress and tension in the body. And I think I hope that people can start to adopt meditation into their life, just from a real practical standpoint of relieving stress from their body and mind.
How would you encourage someone to ask for help without feeling like shameful?
Yeah. So that's a good one, and there shouldn't be shame in asking for help. I mean, it takes a lot of courage and strength to be able to do that, and I really applaud people that take those steps. And this is something that I just ended up talking about was if you don't make changes in your life, nothing ends up changing. Right, so you kind of stay stuck in that cycle until you take those steps to ask for help. So there's no reason to be feel shameful in asking for help, and we're all.
Tom Voss also helped co-publish a book called Where War Ends. Him and his friend also were featured in a documentary that kept track of their journey to better their mental health.